Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Film Brits podcast. I'm your host Trilbee, the Etta Candy of film criticism, and here today, welcome to the Film Brits podcast, where we talk all things movies and generally just try and make this a very community driven Patreon funded podcast, and I massively appreciate all of your support for the month of November. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to open this segment not with Share the Love, because I did like 3 Share the Love segments last week, basically just plugging people on the internet who I think are awesome and that you need to share some love with, because it's a very volatile and negative and terrible place, the internet. So share some love to Welcome to Night Vale, Eliza Rickman, and also the short film The Drawing. You can find those links in the description of the previous Film Brits podcast. But let's talk about a Blu-ray of the week segment, or DVD of the week segment. Now this is slightly different because this is kind of Share the Love and this is kind of DVD of the week. Let's just get right into the podcast. Now this film is the Louis Theroux documentary directed by John Doerr. It's called My Scientology Movie, and the reason that this is more Share the Love as opposed to just DVD Blu-ray of the week or whatever you want to call it is because this movie is not on DVD and Blu-ray yet. You can watch it in a limited theatrical release across the UK, or you can watch it on the UK streaming service We Are Colony. We Are Colony is a great service, and just to emphasise, I'm not sponsored by We Are Colony. I was able to watch this film for free because I've been a member of We Are Colony for a year, and they gave out a download code to rent any of their movie packages for free, and I chose to rent My Scientology Movie. So while I got the movie for free, it was not a press copy, it was not exclusive access or anything. It was basically just, I love the We Are Colony service, My Scientology Movie was on the service, and I thought, why on earth not? I love We Are Colony, I'm just not sponsored by them, so I just make that very clear up front. So My Scientology Movie, it's a very interesting film. It's an interesting documentary in that it's not really a conventional Louis Theroux documentary. If you've watched his stuff on, say, Netflix, where you can marathon hours upon hours and hours of Louis Theroux's documentaries, he's a very fascinating subject. He's a really weird, quirky, passive guy, and it's so interesting to have such a passive person in a documentary, because you kind of expect maybe the figurehead of the documentary, the presenter, to drive it, to narrate it, to do all of the things to keep the momentum going, but it kind of seems like Louis Theroux is on the sidelines of his own documentaries, and I don't mean that as a criticism at all. It's kind of his hidden strength. He's so passive, and he's just so good at just getting right to the core of what he's trying to figure out, or what he's trying to get these people to say, or what he wants his audience to understand and learn, that he can basically just be a really great brick wall for these people who he's interviewing to get across all of their innermost thoughts. He's somehow able to get people to unveil and reveal themselves in front of him. Not literally, maybe it is literal, because he has done quite a few documentaries on the porn and adult and sex industry, so maybe he has had people literally reveal themselves to him, but I don't know, that's neither here nor there. But with My Scientology Movie, he's not, I think what he originally started out with doing, because the movie opens with a tweet from like 2015, 2016, just saying, my next film is going to be a Scientology documentary. Are there any Scientologists out there that I can interview? And what happened is that nobody got back to him. His calls were unanswered, his letters he was not written back, he couldn't reach anybody by email. He tried to reach people in Scientology, in the church, the religion of Scientology, and he was unable to get a hold of anybody. So what he did was that he found a few people who were not fans of the church, who had defected, who had left the religion, and were scorned ex-members, in a manner of speaking. And he and these ex-members helped Louis Theroux do recreations of many events that they claim to have happened with the church's current leader, David Miscavige, at their base in California. And it's a really... I'm glad I watched it. I'm glad I saw the documentary. It's unlike any other documentary that I've ever seen, because it's not really a conventional documentary. It's just kind of Louis working with these ex-Scientology members. It's very one-sided, but in a way he does try to reach out to Scientology. He does try to reach people within the organization for interviews to get their side of the story, but they continually deny, they continually just obstruct him. And what happens is that after a couple of weeks of making his documentary, the Scientologists they catch wind of his documentary, so they decide to film their own documentary about Louis Theroux. And it's kind of scary, sort of the lengths that the Scientologists go to, and because what's in America, there's like in many states there's freedom of religion, there's freedom from religion, where it's sort of the legal loophole that has allowed many companies to, for example, the bakers who refused to make a wedding cake for same-sex marriage. They were like, we can't make this cake because it goes against our religion. There are many laws like that defend religion to such an extent that they can get away with things as long as it's justified in their own religion, or at least if they can argue that it is. And with Scientology, there is one belief that if you feel like somebody is threatening you, or if somebody is a danger to you, or if somebody is doing something that you disapprove of, then you can hurt or kill them. So, yeah, and with that religious freedom, Scientologists are a very dangerous group, and also doesn't help that it seems like Scientology is mainly just a rich club, which allows the leaders to get away with not paying any taxes because it's a religious organisation. But hey, that's the thing about my Scientology movie, though. If you wanted to learn about Scientology through the documentary, it doesn't do a very good job. I was only able to get something out of it because I know the basics of Scientology, and I know kind of from a surface level, because you don't really know much unless you are a member of Scientology. I've learnt it from some basic research, from watching South Park, which actually does a pretty good job at representing what Scientologists actually believe, and also just everything that Tom Cruise has mentioned in interviews, because he's very much one of the big faces of Scientology. It's an interesting format, but in a way it feels incomplete. It feels like my Scientology movie is a film that Louis Theroux and director John Doe had every intention of seeing through to the very end, but the circumstances surrounding the production and also just the stonewall tactics of Scientologists prevented it from being a wholly complete experience, because we don't get any side of the story from the Scientologists themselves. We hear very one-sided stuff, which it's probably true, because it sounds very in keeping with what Scientologists believe, and numerous reports and rumours and stuff like that. I'll say allegedly, because of course it is alleged behaviour from David Miscavige. It is alleged behaviour from Scientologists and things like that. So it does kind of have that caveat. And there's no real ending to the movie either. The last 10 minutes, it kind of builds to a climax where things start to get incredibly personal and incredibly dangerous for one of the ex-members who Louis Theroux's brought along on the adventure. He's a very fascinating character. Kind of, he is unwilling to come to terms with what he did in the past, yet he's still trying to atone for it. He's a really fantastic character, or I should say person. He's a real-life person to just watch and interact with Louis Theroux, and how this documentary is kind of pushing him to breaking point. But the documentary comes to an end when something really personal happens to him, and then they threaten to bring almighty hellfire down on Scientology, and then the credits roll, and then the movie ends. And it just feels like, oh, I know we're like 100 minutes into this film, and that's maybe an adequate length for a documentary, but it kind of feels like this is incomplete. It's unique in terms of the genre, in my opinion, and I think Louis Theroux is able to just be engaging in his own unorthodox way, no matter what he's talking about. But I kind of feel like with Louis Theroux and Scientology, it feels like it should feel like a more complete package. And I think it's interesting just watching Louis Theroux go through the process of trying to make a documentary like from scratch. I think that's an interesting approach, and how they tried to compromise by having Scientology represented by these actors who they get to portray, David Miscavige and Tom Cruise, etc. It's an interesting approach. I'm glad I saw the film. I was just maybe expecting a little bit more, but it gets a hesitant recommendation. I maybe wouldn't go out to a theatre to watch it, but that's why you can rent it for 48 hours on wearecolony.co.uk for like £5. I think it's worth the rental. I think it's worth that, definitely, especially if you are a Louis Theroux fan. But if you are a Louis Theroux fan, you probably have already watched it. So yeah, that is my Share the Love for We Are Colony, and that's my DVD/Blu-ray of the week, but it's actually a rented download. So there you go, my Scientology movie with Louis Theroux, directed by John Doerr. So I recommend that to an extent. So let's talk about the main subject of this podcast, and you've probably seen the title. You're probably already getting very, very angry at what I'm about to say, or even before I've even said it, because that's kind of how the internet works nowadays. But this past week, a trailer dropped for Patty Jenkins' Wonder Woman. And the first trailer, the Comic-Con trailer, I thought it was a solid trailer. It looked pretty good. I thought that it was an exciting 2017 release to look forward to. And then what happened was that Suicide Squad came out shortly afterwards, and I just kind of forgot about Wonder Woman. And what's happened is that this past week, a new trailer has dropped for Wonder Woman, and okay, I'm going to be flat out honest here. The ending joke with Gal Gadot and with Lucy Davis, I didn't think it really worked. I think that maybe having it be the second trailer in a row that ends with a awkward Lucy Davis moment, I think was a bit of a mistake. And I also think that the music that plays when the Wonder Woman logo comes upon the screen, it's jarring with the rest of the trailer, and I understand that it's the music from her arrival in Batman v Superman by Junkie XL and Hans Zimmer, but I just think that I do not want reminding of Batman v Superman, because that just sends me straight back into therapy, and my therapist just does not want me exposed to that movie anymore, so this trailer kind of involuntarily made me feel like that. I'm kidding, by the way, I don't actually have a therapist for Batman v Superman. Some people are just going to get annoyed at my sarcasm, but yeah, I just didn't like the reminder of Batman v Superman. The rest of the trailer, however, I loved every second of it. I'm not entirely sold on Gal Gadot as a solid dramatic presence, but everything from the trailer, at least, I bought into it. I loved the opening on Themyscira, or on Paradise Island, or whatever it is they're going to call it, whatever it is they're going to call it in this movie. And what happens when the Germans arrive, when Steve Trevor crashes in the water. One of my favourites. It's something you don't even see that often in movies, even though we have the budget and the technology to do it. When Wonder Woman dives from the cliff and goes into the water, and the camera follows her into the water. You don't see that as often as you really should, and it's a great shot, and the colours on Themyscira are beautiful. It just looks so great, and the beaches, and the shot of one of the Amazons using the wire to go across the beach and firing the arrows. Even it's clear that they are actually susceptible to bullets. I don't quite know how Wonder Woman was immune to Doomsday's punches, but that's maybe that will be explained. I don't know. I'm not going to nitpick a trailer that I love so much. But and then it's the war that will end all wars, and there's the references to the mustard gas or the trench warfare and all the gases that were used in No Man's Land and in World War One. That nowadays have it was a couple of years after World War One when they were banned. They were considered a war crime to use, and that in World War Two they weren't used at least prominently. And it's great that they're dealing with that angle, getting some real life history in there. And Wonder Woman may have been a character from born through World War II, but I think it's interesting that they've gone back to World War One. And the reason why I find that so interesting, the trailer for me really picks up. It's about maybe just before the halfway point when Diana and Steve Trevor are on that walkway, and they see the soldiers walking towards them. One of them's got a leg and got a leg missing and is on crutches. And she's saying it's our sacred duty to defend the world, and that's what I'm going to do. And then what she does is that she climbs over the trenches, and she steps onto, presumably, I'm guessing from the trailer, I'm guessing here, so this may be completely different from the film. She's stepping onto No Man's Land, and she's facing the Germans alone. And I think what's fascinating about placing Wonder Woman, particularly World War One, is that World War One and also World War Two, but let's focus. World War One was a war that was predominantly fought, almost entirely fought by men, was orchestrated by men, was mainly fought for the purposes of men, and it was a very male-centric war, almost entirely male-centric. And World War Two was to a certain extent as well, but World War One definitely, absolutely, like it was like a 99-100% male recruitment thing. Like obviously we probably got a few people slipping through the cracks, but very, very rarely. So this is an entirely male-driven war, and then you get one of the most iconic female characters in fiction stepping onto no man's land and facing the Germans and deflecting the bullets through with her wrist gauntlets. I'm not sure what they're called. And I think that this is what, maybe against my better judgment, kind of does get me excited for Wonder Woman, or at least what makes this trailer stand out so much from Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad. Because like Man of Steel, I thought from the trailers was a movie that was selling an idea of first contact, but with Superman. And what if these incredibly godlike, superpowered aliens were our first contact? There weren't just aliens that had some amazing technology or were incredibly unique looking, but looked like us, could have walked like us, but have the power to demolish cities on their own. I think that was what Man of Steel was going for, and I think for the most part it succeeds, and the trailers reflected that. The trailers for Batman v Superman were basically Batman v Superman fighting each other. It's not a movie, it wasn't marketed as a movie about ideas, it was marketed about this throwdown that was spectacularly underwhelming. And Suicide Squad was a movie that was sold on the back of music videos are fun, I guess, and live action Harley Quinn. There we go, that was basically Suicide Squad's selling point. And what Wonder Woman is selling with this particular trailer, and it's why I love it so much, is because it's selling the idea of World War One through this particular character's lens, through such a female-dominated land for us, Themyscira. What happens when you take this character into a man's war, into a man's world in 1914 to 1918? How do you view war through that lens? And I think Patty Jenkins, this could be a movie about something. This isn't just Batman v Superman fighting each other, it's really cool, or music videos are really cool like in Suicide Squad. This could be a movie about something, and I'm not saying that just because the movie is about something it will necessarily be good, and neither am I saying that if a movie it doesn't have a lot on its mind that it can't be good or entertaining. Like, for example, Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, it's not really about anything, but I love it to death. It's a spectacular action blockbuster, and I think if Wonder Woman is just something like that, where it doesn't really have a lot on its mind, but it's hugely entertaining, I'll be happy with that. But also, if it is a movie about ideas, and it is also entertaining and very good, then I think that's really when you've hit the jackpot. But I love that idea. I just need the evidence that it's going to be followed through on. I need the evidence that that is what the movie is going to be about, or at least if it is going to be about anything at all. And the reason I just can't quite get hyped about the Wonder Woman trailer is probably for the most predictable reason imaginable. I was burned so badly on Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad. Like, I just wanted fun times at the movies. I didn't want... of course I want movies about ideas, I want movies about bigger themes, I want movies that challenge me or make me think or whatever, but failing that, at least be entertaining. At least be entertaining. And Batman v Superman is a massive, boring, stupid slog. Suicide Squad is just so inept in almost every fashion, and Jared Leto's Joker. It's been 3 months since that movie came out and Jared Leto has not been recast. Like, the role of the Joker has not been recast. How is this a thing? I am baffled. I'm amazed that that's not happened. I'm amazed that, like, maybe they're waiting for the extended edition to come out so they can just rake in a bit more money on Jared Leto's Joker, and then they'll announce that they're going to recast him. Because, that's Razzie winning. That's a Razzie winning performance from Jared Leto. That was superbly bad. If you want my full opinion on Suicide Squad and want me to elaborate more on the Joker, just go on my website www.trilbee.com and just find my Suicide Squad review. There's a search bar on my website, you can find it through that. But yeah, I've been burned by these trailers and these movies in the past, and Warner Brothers, I say what you will about their films, the marketing department is very good. They've made some terrific trailers in the past couple of years, like even for films like not just comic book films, because any other film that they've been doing, like the trailers for San Andreas were really solid, and that was actually Warner Brothers' biggest movie of 2015, and that's why that film of all films is getting a sequel. Mad Max Fury Road had spectacular trailers. Because those trailers were absolutely astounding, and what was great about those trailers is that when you went into the film, you still felt like you hadn't seen everything. Those were some terrific trailers as well. What other things have we got? I'm just going through their recent release slate. Horrible Bosses 2, awesome trailer. Love the trailer, love the marketing for the Hobbit films. American Sniper, the first trailer for that, the one where he's wondering whether or not to shoot the woman and the child. That's a brilliant first trailer. The film's absolutely pants, but it's a great first trailer. What else have we got? Magic Mike XXL, fun trailer. Man from U.N.C.L.E. Once again, say what you will about the film. They put a lot of effort into that marketing. They took it to Comic-Con. They had like a 5-6 minute trailer that showed every single action beat of the film, but it was a strong trailer. And Creed, great trailers as well. Point Break, no, that did not work out. Nice Guys, they put a lot into that marketing. They did a great job marketing the Nice Guys. It just didn't really pan out. Lights Out, War Dogs, Sully, Storks. They know how to sell movies. Warner Brothers is one of the oldest film companies in the business. They have been making movies since 1918. 1918. They are 98 years old. They're probably a little bit older because that was when they released their first film. But beforehand, they are 98 years ago. They released their first movie. They know what they're doing in terms of selling these things, and they've got films coming up. The Lego Batman movie, Kong Skull Island, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Great trailers. Annabelle 2. Film's probably going to be pants. First teaser trailer was pretty effective though. And the Lego Batman movie, that trailer from this past week. And I think it's really interesting how the Lego Batman movie and the Wonder Woman, these trailers both dropped within a couple of days of each other. Because the Lego Batman movie, I'm hyped for that film. I'm more hyped for Lego Batman than I am for Wonder Woman, and the main reason for that is because of the Lego movie, which was one of my favourite films of 2014. I think it's a spectacular film, wonderful animation, great story, really thought-provoking, and awesome. Everything about it just works, and I love it every single time I watch it. I love it more every time I watch it. It gets better on repeat viewings. So that's the reason I'm hyped for Lego Batman, and also the great trailers. Great trailers and a great pedigree helps get me hyped, really. But for Wonder Woman, great trailer. The last trailer was superb. I love the last trailer. The music's amazing. I love the action shots in it, the slow motion, the cinematography. Everything about the last trailer just was brilliant, except for the last 20 seconds. But when you have, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame... No. Either way, someone's getting shamed or fooled here. And I don't like that idea. I don't like that. There was a news story this past week about how, for some reason, the author of the American Psycho book was giving an interview and was talking about how he was meeting with some Warner Brothers people. And I don't know why he was talking about the Ben Affleck Batman script. I don't know what his involvement is in it. I don't know if he is even involved in it. I don't know where this story even really came from. But apparently the quotes were that Warner Brothers were like, yeah, we know that there's a load of problems with the Ben Affleck Batman script, but we don't care because 70% of this the audience aren't even going to watch this film in English, and it's going to make $1 billion anyway. We don't care if it's not very good. That's so cartoonishly like Mr. Burns that I don't really believe it, because maybe if this was the very first Batman film after The Dark Knight, or if this was like the first film in DC's new cinematic universe, maybe I'd believe it. But after Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad, two films that probably could have crossed the $1 billion mark if they were good. If they were good, like Transformers Age of Extinction made like $1.1 billion. Imagine how much money it could have made if it was watchable. Imagine how much money the Transformers films could make if they were good. If they were great. Imagine how much money Paramount Pictures would make. And imagine how much money Batman v Superman would have made if it was tolerable. If it was worth watching or any good, imagine how much money it could have made. That movie should have crossed $1 billion at the box office without even batting an eye. It should have been no contest, easy done. Possibly the highest grossing film of the year, above Civil War, above Fantastic Beasts, above everything. but it wasn't good. The word of mouth hit it hard. You may have liked the film, but the narrative, the consensus was that the film was not very good. It was not worth seeing, and that it was a mess. And that hurt the box office. Like, the word of mouth is impacting films more and more by the day. For example, Fantastic in 2015, that was projected to open at like $45 million, and what it actually opened at, like the projections were before the reviews came in. And I'm just going to look this up now. The projections before the reviews came in was about $35 to $40 million for Fantastic Four. And then once the reviews came in, a $25 million opening. That's a $10 to $15 million drop just based on when the reviews came in. That's a lot of money for studios, especially for an opening weekend when a movie makes most of its money. And I think that because of that, Warner Brothers now know that they can't just slap Batman or Superman into a film or have a battle royale and make $1 billion. They need good scripts. They need competent storytelling. And that's why the story about the Ben Affleck script problems and the American Psycho author randomly saying these quotes about Warner Brothers, it just doesn't ring true to me. It just smacks of the definition of insanity is doing the exact same thing over and over again and expecting things to change. And I don't think Warner Brothers, a 98-year-old company, has that level of insanity. It doesn't make sense to me. So it was a bit too late for Wonder Woman to learn from the mistakes of Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad, but they are going back for reshoots in London, in the UK, in Leavesden, in 2 weeks' time. Their sets, they built a big castle, they built some period buildings and stuff like that in Leavesden in the UK, and they're going back for reshoots in 2 weeks. Reshoots, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Those sets were already built. These reshoots were the sets are still standing, so that this reshoot was planned from the beginning. Otherwise, those sets would not still be there. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. But hopefully, if they are reshooting, they are doing so to improve the film. Hopefully, it's not a ground up reworking. Hopefully not. And even if it is, maybe that could work out. It worked out for Back to the Future. So while I think that if it was just, is the trailer for Wonder Woman great? I would say yes. I'd say it is a great trailer. But am I hyped? I just can't be. Warner Brothers has now got to start earning my trust, earning my faith. And after Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad, it has not done anything to earn that faith. And this is coming from someone who gave Man of Steel 4 stars out of 5. I'm not just a DC hater. Although it was funny how a while ago, somebody who's pathologically obsessed with trying to prove that I have some sort of DC movie bias, he said that me giving Man of Steel 4 stars out of 5 was me basically playing a long con. Like, me reviewing Man of Steel in 2013, going against the popular consensus and giving it 4 stars out of 5, was basically me lying so that I could bash Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad later on. That's genuinely what this person seems to believe, and I don't think he's trolling because of just how much he's pressing the issue. So, yeah, that's weird. But as we transition to the next segment where we take patron questions through my Patreon, Winter had a comment about the Wonder Woman trailer. I asked my patrons what they thought of the trailer, and only Winter responded, which is fair enough. About Wonder Woman, Winter says, I'm not hyped either. Yeah, to be fair, I did say why I can't get hyped for Wonder Woman, so I understand why Winter said that. Winter says the trailer made it look action-packed and flashy, but so did BVS and Suicide Squad. I so want Wonder Woman to do well, but what I've seen so far just leads me to believe it will be a disjointed series of action set pieces. Perhaps that's a little harsh, but I'm hesitant to trust the DCEU with correctly portraying Diana. To be fair, her portrayal was not great in Batman v Superman, but that's mainly because she was given so little to do of substance. Gal Gadot seems like someone who doesn't have a hell of a lot of range to begin with, and I don't think that the screenplay particularly pushed her to have much range either, so maybe she's able to show her true colours in Wonder Woman, but yeah, in BVS I can understand why you might be quite hesitant. And as for it being a disjointed series of action set pieces, I've not seen enough from the movie to have that thought, to be honest. I think that the shots in the trailer seem to show many different set pieces, but it doesn't quite feel disjointed yet. I need to see more in order to for me personally to say that. But yeah, you do you, Winter. I understand completely. But when you say perhaps that's a little harsh, or Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad were not good and they were marketed really well, so Winter's basically on the same level as me, I think, but maybe I liked the trailer a bit more. So let's go to the Patreon questions. First comes from Dean Jones. Oh, if you want to be a patron, you can go to www.patreon.com/Trilbee, and if you pay above a certain reward tier, you get to have some topics and questions on every single podcast. So do that, because it helps to keep the lights on here, and I massively appreciate it. And it also, if the more people do it, the more fun it becomes, because we get more variety, we get lots of different people, and that would be spectacular. So first, Dean Jones, Sir Dean Jones of Film Brits, says, I can't think of any film-related topics, but I do have a TV topic regarding Doctor Who. With Chris Chibnall becoming the new showrunner, what are your hopes and expectations for his era of the programme? I don't really have much more to add from my Mr. TARDIS Reviews Stephen Moffat's Leaving video, because Chris Chibnall, I think, wrote some very solid stories in his tenure when he was part of Doctor Who, like Dinosaurs on a Spaceship, Power of Three, 42. I think he wrote some very solid stories that I generally enjoy. Cold Blood, Hungry Earth, I like that two-parter a lot. I don't think he's written, for Doctor Who, a bad story. His Torchwood track record is not quite as solid, but I still think that his stories have merit to them. I don't think they're complete washes. I think that there are aspects about his scripts with Torchwood, like his weaker ones, that make them interesting to talk about, at least, and not just frustrating to talk about like Stephen Moffat's. Like, interesting and frustrating is Stephen Moffat. Chris Chibnall's writing is interesting, maybe a little bit problematic in a couple of aspects, but I still enjoy talking about them, as opposed to just wanting to bang my head against the keyboard. I have tea, I have a keyboard, just throw tea on the keyboard and just smash my head into it. I smash my head into the keyboard. But since making that Stephen Moffat's Leaving video, I have watched Broadchurch, or at least I've watched Series 1 of Broadchurch. And after watching that, I feel like Chris Chibnall has grown a hell of a lot as a writer over the past 15-20 years. I've read one of his first scripts, which is a theatre script called Kiss Me Like You Mean It, and I forget the characters' names. I've not read it for a while, but basically Kiss Me Like You Mean It is this theatre play about this guy who's in a very unhappy relationship, and he goes to this party, and he's basically in front of this house, and he meets this girl. She's got a boyfriend, and she's happy with him, but then it turns out he's cheating on her, and then she's not happy with him anymore. And these two people basically fall in love in front of this house where a massive party's going on in this house behind them. And Act 1 of Kiss Me Like You Mean It ends with a wonderful monologue. I'm not going to repeat it. I think I know bits of it off by heart, most of it off by heart. Maybe I get the order of it wrong. But it's a brilliant monologue. And it just proves that it's just you can see Chris Chibnall's monologuing, awesome, lengthy dialogue from Doctor Who and Torchwood coming to the forefront and Kiss Me Like You Mean It in that monologue. I think it's really interesting to look back on his earlier work and see it still be reflected in his later career stuff. But and the second half of Kiss Me Like You Mean It has got this old couple who are upstairs in the house, and they're practically on their deathbed, but they're still so much in love with each other, and it's all about the parallels of this relationship. And as this relationship comes to an end, you have this potentially blossoming relationship downstairs, and then these two stories intersect with each other. It's actually, I really like this. I like the script a lot. I've never seen it performed. I've only read the script, which is probably the wrong way to approach a theatre script, because I don't get why they teach Shakespeare in English classes. I kind of get it, but Shakespeare's not something that you're meant to be reading in a book. You're meant to get up and perform it. Even if you're not properly acting it out and being thespians and emotions, it's meant you get up and do it. That's how you read Shakespeare. That's how it's meant to be. This is a massive tangent. But with Broadchurch, Chris Chibnall with Broadchurch was saying so much in this, what was it? It's 8 to 10 episodes. But it never felt unfocused. It was the story of this community more than it was this murder that happens in Broadchurch, this child murder mystery. And I think the part that really cements the fact that Chris Chibnall is an author with a lot on his mind is the David Bradley subplot. He's a guy who was he works in the local post office. He's this old guy who clearly he's got a past. He's got demons. but the demons he's trying to get over and forget, and then they're brought up, and then the end result I'm not going to spoil, but it's kind of like to inject a subplot that brave and dark and ultimately irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. It doesn't really contribute to the overall plot or the mystery. It's kind of gone in 2 or 3 episodes, but the fact that it went in that direction is like, I thought it was really bold and really well done. And David Bradley, of course, sells the hell out of it. But I'm talking strictly speaking about the writing. And Chris Chibnall is a writer who clearly has a lot to say. I think he's a very intelligent guy. And what's funny is that people I'm not saying that I will probably become a Doctor Who showrunner one day, but people are like, how nobody's ever going to make you a showrunner, Mr. TARDIS Trilbee, because you've criticised the show in the past. There's footage of Chris Chibnall on like a TV show in the 80s, because like smashing Doctor Who. I think it was the first Trial of a Time Lord story. I forget, was The Mysterious Planet? I think that's what it was called. And he's on TV just saying how like boring it was and how it just wasn't interesting and how the characters weren't very good. And then like 30 years later, he's the showrunner. That dude, he is my spirit animal. Chris Chibnall is all of us. He's someone who I think he knows how to get a lot of fun across in the show. He understands the Doctor on like a fundamental level. He understands the charm of the show. One of my favourite Chris Chibnall scenes is in The Power of Three, where Brian is sitting in the TARDIS doorway having a picnic, just watching the Earth from space. And it's that idea, like the picnic in orbit, making something mundane and showing it through different eyes, through a different lens. And I think Chris Chibnall absolutely gets it. He does remind me of a 2005 to 2010 Stephen Moffat, but it's a very different sensibility. But in terms of just understanding the fundamentals of the Doctor and of the programme, he does remind me of Stephen Moffat. And he would have been my choice to be the new showrunner after Moffat if it wasn't for the fact that he hadn't written for the show in like 4 years. But he was working on Broadchurch Series 1 and Series 2. Series 2 is meant to be really good as well, but it wasn't as well received as the first one. But I think they're planning a Series 3. So what I'm hoping for Chris Chibnall is kind of bring it maybe back to basics. Make it a show about stuff. Like, it doesn't have to be these massive overarching themes, but I'd like some substance, but I'd also like some fun. I just want I want to enjoy watching Doctor Who again. I just want to sit on the couch on a Saturday evening and think what we're going to get this time, instead of, oh god, what we're going to get this time. If you get what I mean. I don't want to dread watching Doctor Who again. And I'm kind of at that stage now. It just feels like it's at an awkward stage where we've got one more series with Stephen Moffat with Asbill, and we're going to have this really awkward period of transition if Bill is staying for a second series, which Pearl Mackie could be brilliant, but I think her staying on for a second series would create a really weird transitional state for Stephen Moffat and Chris Chibnall in terms of their creative visions and trying to make them work. But I don't know. I hope for the best. And for Chris Chibnall, I'm not expecting the worst. So that's really all I can say. That was a massive tangent, but I like to give you value for your Patreon money. Winter asks, last episode I said that I thought the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 trailer was better than the one for Logan. By now it's reversed. The Logan trailer just stayed with me throughout the week, thanks mainly to the song Hurt, performed by Johnny Cash, and was more memorable overall, while Guardians of the Galaxy 2 seemed to fade into the background. So what are your favourite movie trailers, and how does the use of a song as a central element affect its effectiveness? Good question. I am a person who loves trailer music. I love trailer music. I love the epicness from it. I love how they just get... there are some studios or composers and orchestras out there that only do stuff for trailers. I think that trailer music is a art. I love the trailer music for the Wonder Woman trailer. And how some of the editing just fits into the beats. I think that's brilliant. Some of my favourite movie trailers... Right, I'm not a big fan of the Titanic movie, but there's a good 40-minute period of Titanic when the ship is sinking that I think is like perfect filmmaking. And my favourite shot of the movie is actually the final shot of the Titanic trailer, and I think that's one hell of an ending. It's basically, the ship is vertical, and it's sinking down. And Jack and Rose are on the railing at the end of the ship where they first met, and they're sinking, and they can see like the water bubbling and approaching them. and the shot is from the underneath the railing, and then it goes it does an 180 degree rotation as the ship sinks and Rose and Jack go closer to the water, and it's a phenomenal shot. It's one of the best shots ever, and it's at the end of the trailer. As for other trailers, the Civil War trailer is amazing, I think. I love the Marvel trailers. I think they do a terrific job, particularly in their Avengers or their group movies. I think the Civil War trailer with the Spider-Man reveal, and I thought that was just an incredible money shot at the end. I love money shots in trailers as well. I think one of my favourite money shots is from Oz the Great and Powerful, where they show the reveal of the Wicked Witch of the West and how you can see her silhouette moving and searching around in the flames. And it's kind of that shot that makes you think, yeah, Sam Raimi is born to bring this character back to the big screen. And in terms of songs as a central element, that's an interesting question. Hurt is... I'm trying to think of non-comic book related ones, but X Gon Give It To You in Deadpool, that's a great one. Hooked on a Feeling in the first Guardians of the Galaxy trailer, that's so weird and offbeat, because the Guardians of the Galaxy promotional material overall is just such an interesting approach. From Spirit in the Sky, which doesn't appear in the actual movie itself, but it is on the soundtrack because it was in the trailer. Like, who markets a movie like this? But it worked, and it worked incredibly well. So I'm trying to think of non-comic book related ones. Some good examples are trailers that use like the soundscape of the movie itself to give the trailer its own sense of rhythm. It's not necessarily trailer music, it's more like sound effects or something underscoring the trailer. The Accountant is one where you've got the Ben Affleck finger drumming on the table, and you've got him moving and cooking moving his breakfast items on the plate, and him cooking breakfast, and him typing and punching, and I guess these sound effects that kind of like The Accountant. It's a really great trailer, actually. I think I'm looking forward to seeing the film. I've heard a lot of good things about it from people I know, even if the critic reception hasn't been so great. But I love the movie trailers that sort of don't so much rely on music as they do on sound effects. Like the second trailer for Don't Breathe it's really misleading, the trailer, because if you've watched the Red Band second trailer where he's the kid from Goosebumps, I forget, Dylan something, he's on the phone to his dad and he's like, yeah, Dad, I really fucked up, and the underscoring of the trailer is, I really, really fucked up. And it's because that over and over again has more different sound effects, and they add sound effects to the blind guy's movements. And the trailer's misleading because there's a lot of scenes and shots and stuff that is not in the finished movie. And the whole I really fucked up scene of him on the phone, that is the very basis of that trailer, that's not in the movie. I love Don't Breathe, but that trailer really misleading, including one shot where Jane Levy she's dancing in like the restaurant where they initially talk about the plan. That scene's not in the film. That's really weird. But yeah, and also Nostalgia Critic brought this up in his like top 11 trailers. The trailers for A Serious Man and Little Children, those A Serious Man, the bass sound effect, for lack of a better term, is because the main character's head getting smashed against the chalkboard over and over again. And in Little Children, it's like it's the sound effect of course the train passing by and all of these weird massive sound effects. And you just, in Serious Man, it's the soundtrack to the guy's life. It's a really great, it's a unique way to get it across. And actually, yeah, let's talk about Coen Brothers. I loved the trailer music for Hail Caesar, and what's the song called? It's called Go Ahead, I think that's what it is. But go ahead, it's something like that's, and you even get like the Channing Tatum dancing to the rhythm of it. I think that those trailers used music incredibly well. I thought that was really well done. Tarantino normally puts some great music in his trailers. Yeah, I can't really think of many massive examples. I just sort of maybe think of themes like that, but like using soundscapes in trailers, it makes it very unique. And I think that when you do find a license, like some trailers just use a licensed song because it's popular, kind of like the Assassin's Creed trailer using that Kanye West Man of God thing. It's got nothing to do with Assassin's Creed. It didn't remotely match with what was happening in the trailer. It was just, oh, it's Kanye West, he's popular, let's just put him in the trailer. As opposed to, say, Deadpool X Gonna Give It To You, or The Wolverine, Johnny Cash's Hurt. Those are the licensed tracks that really stick with you. So, and of course, Terminator Genesis doing a bum 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 bum. That's a pretty iconic sound that you need in a Terminator trailer. Those are my many answers to your question, Winter. So Edward Sweet asks 3 questions, so I won't elaborate on them that much, but I will try and give good answers to them. Edward Sweet asks, number 1, since you went to see the stage play, yes, me and my girlfriend went, it was for her birthday, so I went to see Rocky Horror Picture Show, and Edward Sweet asks, what are your thoughts on Rocky Horror Picture Show, film and play? Play's a hell of a lot of fun. It's one of those ones where if you've not seen the movie, or if you've not seen like a live streamed version or whatever, maybe don't go and see the play first, because if you go there you'll be surrounded by a lot of people wearing stockings, a lot of people in costume, a lot of people shouting and throwing things on the stage, which is what you do for Rocky Horror Picture Show. Everyone holds a light up during the there's a light song, they hold newspapers over their head, they shout obscenities when the narrator is narrating on the stage. It's not a ideal introduction to the uninitiated. I recommend watching the 40th anniversary live stream on YouTube. You can watch the whole thing on YouTube. They've got like guest narrators like Stephen Fry, Anthony Head, and many other people. It's actually a really great version. Initially for Rocky Horror, when I was a little bit younger, maybe 5-6 years younger, I loved the first act, and I think that once the bedroom scene happened when Frankenfurter is in bed with both Brad and Janet, I think the movie lost a lot. I guess wasn't remotely as engaged with the second half, because the first half it's got Damn It Janet, it's got Sweet Transvestite, it's got Make You a Man, and it's got, what's the other one? It's got The Time Warp. I mean, of course, it's got. How did I almost forget that? It's got The Time Warp. And the second act, it doesn't really have as much of like the fun, iconic songs, but the second act is really when you. It's when the movie or the stage play, it's when it finds its heart, and when you've got Frankenfurter singing "Don't Dream It, Be It," and I think it's one of the reasons I love the 40th anniversary version, because the actor playing Frankenfurter absolutely sells every moment of it. Like, he clearly believes and loves every single line of dialogue that he's singing for "Don't Dream It, Be It." It's a really great, earnest performance, and the scene in the bedroom when he is in bed with Brad, and how much ad-libbing they do, and how Brad is desperately trying not to corpse. It's astounding. Time is fleeting. Yeah, but I will briefly talk about the new one, the one from Fox, with Laverne Cox as Frankenfurter. Right, Laverne Cox is good, although I think that having a woman be Frankenfurter just really absolutely misses the point somewhat. But it's so straight, you guys. It's so straight. That sounds so weird, but Rocky Horror is a very inclusive show. It's about different people of different body types, of different sexualities, of different backgrounds. It's all about inclusivity. But the new Rocky Horror film for Fox, it just feels like it's very mainstream. It's trying to turn something that's very cult and niche into a mainstream viewing experience. And you've cocked up when Riff Raff is hot. Riff Raff is played by a hot guy, and he's barely uglied up in the film, and it's absolutely stupid. Brad is all muscly, even though at one point Janet says, I don't like men with too many muscles, but she's with bloody Brad. Doesn't make any sense. The staging's not very good, the songs aren't. Tim Curry's fun. Tim Curry, he is the narrator, but the woman who is in the room with him is just no, her humour is dead on arrival. Rocky is not wearing tight Speedos, he is wearing baggy boxers. What the hell? And Janet is not remotely plain. She's too beautiful and sexy. It misses the point so much, and it tries to make mainstream, and it's trying to make it something so cultish mainstream, and it just does not work. It doesn't ring true. And I think that they only got Laverne Cox because they were we want to do a really mainstream version of Rocky Horror. Name one trans actor. and I'm guessing that the boardroom that they were in could only name one person. I think, like no disrespect to Laverne Cox, she's great in Orange is the New Black, and she's good as Frankenfurter, but it comes across like that made by committee thing. It's not good. So yeah, second question. What are your favourite movies to watch as a double feature, science fiction or otherwise? Some of my favourites are RoboCop and The Terminator, Ferris Bueller and Breakfast Club, Rocky Horror versus Little Shop of Horrors. That'd be a Frankenfurter versus what's it called? I'm tired and what's it called? Little Shop of Horrors. I am kicking my... People are probably just shouting at me right now. Seymour! And I got that just before I found Seymour. Frankenfurter versus Seymour. And Escape from New York and Big Trouble in Little China. I've mentioned this before. I don't really watch many double features, but one I do recommend is Halloween and Halloween 2, because those two films, Halloween 2 picks up right where Halloween left off. I think that Halloween is a great builder of atmosphere without much payoff, but Halloween 2 is straight to the payoff, and if you watch it as a double feature, it does feel like one great long cohesive story, and I think it really, really works. Watch it in one sitting on Halloween, and I think you're in for a really, really good time. As for other double features, unless they're part of a franchise, I don't really watch double features. I can see the appeal of watching RoboCop then The Terminator, or Escape from New York and then Big Trouble in Little China, but it's not something I really do outside of franchises. Like, I could watch all the Harry Potter films back to back, or all of or Terminator and Terminator 2, or Toy Story and Toy Story 2 and Toy Story 3, or whatever, but I don't really do that. It's not something I do, so sorry to disappoint, but I'm going to go with an answer I've already given before, Halloween and Halloween 2. That's really the only double feature that I actually go out of my way to watch. And question 3, what is your favourite John Carpenter movie? Mine is The Thing, closely followed by They Live, Halloween and Big Trouble in Little China. Long-time listener since your earlier days on YouTube, keep up the good work. Thank you very much, Edward. I hate to be boring, but it is The Thing. I think that The Thing is a horror thriller masterpiece. I think it's brilliant at suspense. I love the synth 80s score. It's such a product of its time, but the special effects still hold up. The special effects are astounding. The defibrillator moment, the spider transforming, the melting gooey neck, the scene where he's got the blood drops and he puts the heated rod on them, and then you just don't expect it to come out of the tube, and it does, and it makes me jump every single time. And Kurt Russell's amazing, basically looking like a live-action Mufasa. That's who should play Mufasa in the live-action... Kurt Russell for him. That's who I'm rooting for. But he needs to grow the hair out. That's how he does it. It's not a costume. It's not a wig. He just grows the hair out. But yeah, it's got to be The Thing. It's just a superb film. It was not given remotely the amount of respect it deserved in the 80s. It was a flop. It was a critical disaster. I think it was nominated for a Razzie. But it's really stood the test of time. It was ahead of its time. It still holds up today. And I love how dour and downbeat the ending is. And I talked about this a few months ago with Trey on the Movie Mania podcast when we talked about ambiguous movie endings. And The Thing is a great ambiguous movie ending because it doesn't matter if one of them or both of them or neither of them are possessed. It doesn't matter because they're both going to die anyway. And that's the best ambiguous ending where... whatever the outcome is, it does not matter. And that's just the best ambiguous ending. Okay, folks, that's the Patreon questions. Now we're going to one of my favourite segments, the lightning round. Basically, before I record the podcast, I put a general call out on my Twitter asking for questions, and I've got 60 seconds to answer them. We've got a lot of questions, so yeah, that'll be fun. Right. Let's scroll down the Twitter feed because I did get a lot of them. Right, so let's go for 6 seconds questions. Yes. 3, 2, 1, go. Tom Monty asks, favourite member of the family of blood and why? It's got to be Baines. I can't remember the actor's name off the top of my head. I've not screened these questions, by the way, so I don't really know what I'm going to get. But yeah, the guy who plays Baines is just clearly selling the hell out of it. I think he gets some of the best and most quotable exchanges, like, shut up, stop talking, cease and desist, let's go, girl! And he's so committed to the act. He's so committed to this character's assholery. And just the tilts of his head, the committed sniffs that he does when trying to find the Time Lord. It's gotta be Baines. I don't think that the creepy girl is like... she's just a cliche creepy girl. I'm not saying that the actress is bad. I'm not saying the concept is bad, but it's basically what you expect. Mother is basically just a copy of Baines, but Baines is better because he did it first. And the father is not... I don't know. The father's a bit of a nothing villain, but Baines from the Family of Blood, it's like, I can't imagine it being any other option, to be honest, Tom. I don't really know what other answer you wanted from me. There we go, that's a minute. Right, next question. 3, 2, 1, go. Lizzie Gravel asks, should they make a Harley Quinn solo movie? They should, and they should get Margot Robbie to play Harley Quinn again, but they should actually get a character who understands how Harley Quinn works. And I think that maybe I think if they did a Harley Quinn solo movie, and they, of course, recast Jared Leto's terrible Joker, and they did the whole mad love origin story for her, I think she needs an origin story. This is the type of psychological relationship that audiences need to understand. The abusive, sadistic relationship between the Joker and Harley Quinn is not something that you're meant to believe or buy. It's not something you can believe or buy into through really limp flashbacks. Like, you cannot just be like, oh, this is an incredibly intelligent psychologist. Oh, the Joker just smiled at her and said, "Get me a machine gun," and then they fell in. Like, no, it's pants. It's terrible. You need a fully fleshed origin story, and if they're going to do a Harley Quinn solo movie, that's the direction they should go in. There we go, that's the question. Next one. 3, 2, 1, go. Kyle Pickathley asks, and it's a screen grab from Hot Fuzz. Actually, I just wanted to ask, what's your perfect Sunday? I might replace the lightning round thing with that. Let's do it. Bam, go. My perfect Sunday is just, right, I stay in my pyjamas until 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Then I go to the movies, watch whatever I want, do some writing, because for me, writing reviews is not really work. It is work, but I don't really treat it as work. It's just what I love and enjoy doing. So, my perfect Sunday is watching a film, relaxing, having something nice to eat, just getting a nice cup of tea, waiting for all of this to blow over. It is just a relaxing day, really, but where I do get to watch movies and do a bit of, do some writing at the end of it, because it's just something that makes me feel relaxed without massive deadlines or anything like that. So that's my perfect Sunday. Okay, next question. 3, 2, 1, go. Shazeb Mangi asks, do you honestly think there are any objective parts of a film to talk about when talking about it critically? If so, what parts? Objectivity is something that you should really strive for, but it's something that you can't fully achieve, but you should still strive for it if you can. There are some aspects it's tough to explain in 1 minute and unscripted. I think when it comes to stuff like plot holes or performances, scratch that. When it comes to stuff like plot holes, when it comes to stuff like structure and maybe special effects, I think that our objective and subjective, I think there are objective merits or the lack thereof. If there is a plot hole, that is an error with the film. The subjectivity aspect comes with how much does that bother you. The Joker and Harley Quinn's relationship is absolutely terrible in Suicide Squad. Objective, in my opinion, but the subjective part is, does that bother you? I know that's the minute. I know that's a terrible answer, but I kind of hope you get what I mean. Maybe that deserves to be a full question at some point. But ready, next question. 3, 2, 1, go. Adam Mamoon asks, a favourite Amy Adams performance as Arrival is heading to cinemas this week. I thought Amy Adams was really good in Big Eyes. I thought that she was basically the perfect quintessential Disney princess in Enchanted. I think she's absolutely thankless in Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. She's her big starring role was Catch Me If You Can, wasn't it? And I think that I need to rewatch that. I remember her being very good, but I've not really watched Catch Me If You Can since Amy Adams really blew up in the past few years. I think she's good in American Hustle, but it's clear that her and Jennifer Lawrence, because they're the absolute wrong ages for their characters, and they really should have swapped roles. I would have liked to have seen Amy Adams in the Jennifer Lawrence role in that film. She's got a small role in Her, which is very The Muppets. She's a lot of fun in. She's really great in the Muppets, because the sort of dewy-eyed character. And that's the minute, but she's got a very good career, and by the end of it, she will have 1 or 2 Oscars on her mantle. Mark my words, that's going to happen. Okay, next question. 3, 2, 1, go. Daniel Morrison asks, thoughts on Michael Giacchino, Star Trek Beyond, Doctor Strange, scoring Spider-Man Homecoming? I like Michael Giacchino. I think he's done some very good scores for, like, even though I don't like the first two Star Trek films that much, his scores are amazing. His Doctor Strange score is not great, but I like the credits music, but there really wasn't that much memorable about it. But he's worked on Inside Out, on Up, on he's going to be doing Rogue One. He's replacing Alexander Desplat. He did Tomorrowland. He's done some really great stuff for not just Disney films, but just blockbusters in general. And I think he is a great up and coming composer. Well, I say up and coming. He's already here. He could be the new John Williams in like 30, 40 years time. He's just terrific, especially if he stays with Disney, because they'll look after him. Him scoring Spider-Man: Homecoming, really good. I think that it'll be tough to top like the Danny Elfman theme from Sam Raimi's original movie, which just is still triumphant and amazing, but I look forward to seeing him try. Okay, next question. 3, 2, 1, go. Miles the Junkman asks, Batman v Superman or Suicide Squad? Don't make me choose. Both are terrible. I only needed 5 seconds for that. Sorry, Miles, but like, maybe when it comes to my year's end list, I'll probably find which one, but maybe I'll have to watch the extended cut of Suicide Squad before making a full decision on it. So, okay, let me just take a drink. Okay, we're nearly at the end of the lightning round. So, ready? Next question. 3, 2, 1, go. Jerome Giorlando asks, should someone make a movie on this terrifying election? Glad it's almost over. You and me both. This election, maybe. I think it's probably going to happen. I think that we need all of the facts to sit in first. I think we need to find out what's happening with all of Trump's like behind the scenes corruption and all of the stuff, like the many of the accusations held at him, like his sexual abuse stuff, is child molestation accusations, and all of the tax. We need all of that to come out into the open first, and also Hillary, just find out what, like, if any of the numerous things that are currently unproven but people are still running with anyway. Find out if any of that is true. We need this to like sort of settle in 10 or 15 years time, and then get a movie. I think that like something that we need to make a movie of. I'm going to go over my minute, but I just want to get this across here. I think that the Trump and Hillary presidential race, and also Brexit, could be a terrific spiritual successor to The Big Short. Because with Brexit, you couldn't make up half of this stuff if you tried. Like the Remain campaign just were massively complicit on like the facts were on their side and everything was they thought that common sense was on their side, and then the Leave campaign just, with lie after lie after lie after lie, managed to get people to vote for their side. And then, like, within like 2 or 3 hours of the Leave result, already they were backtracking on the lies. You couldn't make this stuff up. And now, like, there was something in the news today about how they may be holding the Leave campaign accountable and maybe actually charging them and taking them to court and trying to try them as criminals for lying throughout the campaign and perverting democracy. And I think that Adam McKay could do a terrific like spiritual successor to The Big Short on Brexit alone. I think that would be absolutely amazing. But once again, you need the situation to settle, and I think for Donald Trump and Hillary, you need that stuff to come out into the open. You need some time for the rage to die down, so that we can uncomfortably laugh at it in maybe 10 or 15 years time. Like, obviously we'll be grossly ashamed of many of the things that have been happening over Brexit and this presidential campaign. 2016 has been just the most terrible year for democracy, and it's the most terrible year for politics. But we need some distance from that hate. We need the hatred to like simmer down for a bit, and then we can maybe uncomfortably laugh at it and hopefully learn from it. I've gone over my minute, but yeah, I'll try not to do that so often. But yeah. Next question. 3, 2, 1, go. What unadapted book would you like to see get an adaptation on film or TV/streaming? Good question. I do not read remotely enough. So I can't really say. I don't know what big up-and-coming books there are. I don't know what is the hip how now and wow moment, like book or ebook or whatever's interesting. But I'd like to see... what would I like to see? There are some true stories I want to see get adapted. Like the guy, Thomas Dam, who invented the Troll Dolls, I'd like to see his story told, because that's a really interesting story. I'd like to see the story of the film directors who Kim Jong-il, when he was just the Prince of North Korea, kidnapped them and forced these two to remarry because they were divorced, and then forced them both to make Godzilla-style monster movies for him. I want to see that movie get made. So those are my two like big things that I just want to see get adapted into film or TV. But as for books, I'm afraid I just don't read enough. Sorry to disappoint Claire, but I just don't read enough. Maybe you could tell me what you think, but as for me, I don't really have an answer. Okay, next question. 3, 2, 1, go. Ben asks, a series of unfortunate events teaser with Neil Patrick Harris, yay or nay? Thoughts? I thought it was a really good teaser, actually. I liked the first one with Patrick Warburton. I thought that was a really solid announcement trailer, but this one where we actually saw the Baudelaire children, and we actually saw Count Olaf and Neil Patrick Harris in the makeup, and with that hell of a side profile, which is Ben's profile picture on Twitter, so I've got a direct reference to look at. That's a hell of a profile, and it looks a lot more ambitious than I thought it would. Like, it's the shot of they're getting onto that massive boat and all the green screen work. It looks a lot more ambitious than I thought it would be, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where the story goes and how far they adapt it. But as for the trailer, yeah, it was a really solid trailer. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with the source material, and I hope that Neil Patrick Harris can pull it out of the bag as well as the young child actors. So I'm really looking forward to it. Friday the 13th in January. Looking forward to that. Okay, next question. Blimey, so many, but let's keep going for fun. I'm enjoying this. 3, 2, 1, go. Callum Rourke asks, what's the latest on Trilbee Gaming? Yeah, basically in April, I filmed like a load of Let's Plays and a load of episodes of stuff that, many of them are mostly edited. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to get these done, going to get these edited. Then I got a job for 2 weeks on a game show. And then I was like, okay, once that's done, I'll get these things done. Then I got a job for 3 months on a TV show. Then that didn't happen, and then I got a job for like a month on a game show, and then I went to Edinburgh, and then I did. Yeah, basically work got in the way. Non-YouTube related work got in the way. I've filmed like 30 episodes of a Let's Play and edited most of them together. I've just not finished. I've just not polished them, and I've just not uploaded them. I've got so much like Trilbee Gaming content on my laptop that's just not like so close to being finished. I've just not had the time to really finish it. Hopefully soon, but I'm frustrated that I wasn't able to get it as promised, because I do want to do more gaming stuff, but work has just got in the way, and it's just really unfortunate that the Trilbee Gaming channel is the one that's really had to suffer for it. So, sorry that there's just not been much on it, but that's just how it's happened, unfortunately. Okay, next question. 3, 2, 1, go. Noah Ekin Road? Ekin Road. I don't know. Wood. Okay, what would be your pick for a villain in a Fantastic Four movie? I'm not phenomenally well versed in Fantastic Four, unfortunately. Probably some like the Mole Man. That would be a weird, quirky, fun villain to have. But I think for a Fantastic Four movie, I don't see them having a solo one anytime soon. I think they're probably going to join Marvel and then fight one of their big villains like Galactus or Silver Surfer or Doctor Doom. I think we're going to see, because Fantastic Four have got a huge rogues gallery, but only 2 or 3 of them are like mainstream famous. Yeah, there aren't many Fantastic Four villains that they can call their own that have really broken into the mainstream. So it would probably just have to be Galactus or Doctor Doom again. But for my pick, I just don't really know enough about Fantastic Four's, like their rogue gallery in general. So sorry to disappoint. Okay, next question. 3, 2, 1, go. Marco Portuando says, "What are some of your favourite comedies?" Right, Cornetto trilogy is just amazing. Airplane is one of the funniest movies I've ever seen in my entire life. Monty Python and the Holy Grail is I think Monty Python and the Holy Grail is my favourite comedy. I think it's just absolutely outstanding. What other comedies? I do love like the animated films like Toy Story, Shrek 2. Shrek 2 is hysterically funny. Just looking around at me, seeing if there's any more inspiration. But let's say Airplane, Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and Shaun of the Dead. I'll go for those 3. Okay. Next question. What am I doing? Oh no, my stopwatch has been weird. Okay, ready? And 3, 2, 1, go. Graham Williamson asks, what's your least favourite Harry Potter film and why? Least favourite? Upon reflection, my least favourite is possibly, I think, Chamber of Secrets. It's either Chamber of Secrets or the Half-Blood Prince. I like the Half-Blood Prince a lot. I just think it's really only the last 30 minutes where it's narratively substantial. I think it's setting up a lot of the romance and a lot of the character stuff in Half-Blood Prince, which I do massively appreciate, but I think it takes a little bit too long to get to the revelation of the Horcruxes. I think it takes a little bit too long for the Slughorn stuff. I love all of the films. I think they're all at least great, or at least pretty good. But Chamber of Secrets feels like it's playing it very safe. It doesn't, like, it's in this awkward stage where we already know this character, we know this world, relatively speaking, but the threat isn't quite. It's not quite arrived yet, so it kind of feels like it's buying time. It, like, Half-Blood Prince and Chamber of Secrets feel like the buying time installments. So even though I do enjoy them a lot, those are my two least favourite. Okay, next question. 3 to 1, go. Matthew Jasper asks, if you could create a new Marvel superhero team, who would be in it? What would it be called and why? Oh boy, loaded question. Okay, I loved the lineup that Captain America had at the end of Age of Ultron. Let's use that as a starting point. Captain America leads because it's Captain America. Right, I'm going to go for a team of 5 or 6. Right, let me try and remember this or keep this consistent in the next 35 seconds. Captain America leads. He's your human. Your Magic, you've got your Doctor Strange. Oh, no. Magic, Scarlet Witch. Captain America, Scarlet Witch. You got to get an Iron Man in there. Let's get Rescue in there. Pepper Potts. Next, let's get Black Panther. We need someone superpowered. Let's get Thor in there. One more. Who else can I have in my team? And let's have Red Hulk. Yeah, let's have Red Hulk in there. We need the anti-hero. What would I call them? I'd call them the Trilbee Awesome Meister. I don't know. I don't know what I would call them, but that would be my team. What did I say? Captain America leads. Scarlet Witch. Black Panther, Rescue, Thor, as in Thor Odin's son, not Jane Foster Thor, and Red Hulk. Let's go for that one. Okay, I don't know what I'd call them, but yeah, anyway. Ready, 3 to 1, go. Jerome Giolando. Have I already taken a question from you, Jerome? No. I have! Oh, you cheeky git. Oh, no. Well, I've messed up. That was just a response to another tweet. That wasn't a question. I'm sorry, Jerome, you're not a cheeky git. I'm sorry, I apologise. Okay, final question. This one's just come in. Ready, 3, 2, 1, go. Castleman asks, marry, fuck, kill, ignore. Ignore? Okay. Hermione, MCU Black Widow, Princess Leia, and Amy Pond. Oh, gosh. I always lose track of these. It's why I don't like doing lists, but okay. Marry, fuck, kill, or ignore. I would ignore Princess Leia, because she's got many other things to be worried about. I would kill Amy Pond. I don't know why. I would marry Hermione, and I'd fuck F-U-C-K, MCU Black Widow. Like you asked, like I said, I don't screen these questions. That you just send me these things. So there we go. That's my marry, fuck, kill, ignore. It's probably not a very PC question, but you guys asked. Well, I say guys. Castleman asked. Castleman, you're a depraved man in your Spider-Man costume avatar. Thank you so much for listening to the Film Brits podcast. But I mean, this is the longest one yet. That's what happens when the lightning round goes on for so long. But I really enjoyed doing it. So thank you so much for listening to the Film Brits podcast. If you'd like to support the podcast through financial means and keep the lights on, and also get lots of perks and rewards and get the podcast a whole day early, and also get access to my exclusive Patreon stream and get to ask questions and get to be a sponsor of the podcast, then please go to www.patreon.com/Trilbee and pledge, and that would be awesome to keep the lights on at Christmas. I'd massively appreciate it, and I also like heating and being able to eat. And you can visit my website, www.trilbee.com. You can subscribe to this podcast via SoundCloud or iTunes. Rate us on iTunes. That would be absolutely awesome if you could do that. And I shall see you folks next week with more film-related goodness. Catch you guys next time.